Well, thank you very much for sending me this beautiful box for the second time. It's always a good surprise when
You're very
it comes. And let me open this, and this is one of my favorites. The little mannequin that it's so
It's
sweet.
amazing. I found it. It's a British woman making these. They're all laser cut from recycled cardboard, and then they arrive almost like a little jigsaw, and you have to puzzle them together.
The idea of making tiny toiles, it's unique. I haven't seen it from anybody else, and I really think it's spectacular. And then I went in, and another thing that I always adore and I always play with is this, all the
Oh
swatches.
yeah, all of the swatches.
Yeah, because you can touch, the texture, and you can see the color. So tell us a little bit about your choices this season.
Sure. So the collection, as you see also behind me, is quite light this time. It's meant to go into stores in summer, and we always love to keep in the season with the drops on the shop floor. So it's really bright and light, and I think after quite a dull year, we're all looking forward to having some lightness again in our life, and it's been heavily inspired by travel. So that's why you also see these, the stripes are very prominent in this collection. We've got beautiful linens. The linen is coming from Austria, the stripe is coming from Switzerland. So it's amazing partners we're working with, and as you know, the feel of the fabric is really lovely too.
It is very lovely, but one other thing that I really love is that now that I start knowing you and knowing your collections, I recognize your brand just by looking at this, and it's a good thing, because it's, even if you change the color a little bit, it's your hues, it's your taste, and
Yes.
I always think that it's very good to have a strong signature, and you certainly are getting there.
Oh, amazing. I'm glad to hear that.
And also this looks very luxurious, and yeah, that's good. So let's go into chapter 3. I have a favorite, which is this little skirt.
It's one of my favorites too, actually. I love that you picked it out. It's so lovely. It's such a simple way of creating the pattern, because it's a half circle skirt, and then we divided up the skirt into stripes, and as you see, we then chose to alternate the direction of the stripe to enhance the pattern.
Yeah.
But it's so simple yet so effective, and I think that really speaks nicely to the brand. I'll pick it up here in full size.
I think it looks good even on the tiny mannequin.
I know, right? And the cool thing is, depending on which direction you wear the skirt in, because it obviously being a half circle, it's really easy to just flip it around. And so if you wear the zip on the back, you have more of a straight shape in the front. But if you wear it on the side, it gives
you've got a diagonal
swoosh of the stripes. And I really love that flexibility in the shape. And yeah, as you see, it's just stripes in the end, but it gives it such a dynamic shape, which I really love.
I also wanted to talk about the way you present, the thing and the pattern. So here we have another lovely piece. So this beautiful dress with its, color and material, and then and all the drawings, and then you also show the pattern. So
Yeah.
is this for buyers? So aren't you afraid that people then can copy it? They have everything that's needed to copy it?
I hear that a lot. I don't know, I love sharing the process, because sometimes it's so nice to show that the most simple things can be so effective. And I think today with social media, it's so easy to copy a designer. It's, there's no way of preventing that to happen, and there's no security, no matter how secretive you are. And I actually love sharing the process of making with my clients. So I think the gain is much larger than the fear of being copied, and as I said, that can happen anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's great to see for you as well the dedication we put into it, and how everything is made, and what makes it special, and that's why I love sharing the process a little bit about it as well.
That's very good. And when I see this, I imagine that for us, editors or buyers, it's a good way to explain to the clients, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's why it's there. So
Yeah, because especially this piece, it looks so confusing when you first see it on a hanger and you have no idea how to put it on. It's incredibly simple, but you need a little bit of guidance in the beginning to understand it. And yeah, hence why we created the little illustration to help understand the construction of it.
and so Anna, what is your relationship with the planet and all the problems that apparently fashion is creating, and yeah, how do you try to be as much as you can sustainable?
So interestingly enough, I think sustainability came into my life incredibly early because I have parents that have always been in their mindset very green and caring for the planet. So I grew up in a house that actually won a prize even for being incredibly sustainable that my parents built 20 years ago. So I think it is to a certain extent ingrained in me. And so it was crucial to the strategy of the brand from the very first moment to be as sustainable as we could possibly be while still creating a business that can also be financially sustainable. So I decided to actually produce only in the UK. So far, we actually also produce only in London. So our way to manufacturers and the distance that pieces are shipped is incredibly short. And it allows us also to support the local craftsmanship and skills, which I think is incredibly important. And we chose to only work with natural fibers. And that's due to the fact that we want to create pieces that are long lasting and high quality, but also because they are biodegradable at the end of the line. And we then try to source them as locally as possible. So we only work with European mills and suppliers. But I think the most important part is also to design in a way that brings people joy and is long lasting, because something that is beautifully created and as sustainable as it can be, but it's never worn in the end, isn't a very successful sustainable garment after all. So I think we try to keep a good balance between all of those topics, and of course strive to improve every day. There's no perfection in this, and we very much see it as progress rather than perfection, but we're on a good way, I think.
That's great. Well done.